Hello everybody, welcome back. This is a different coin that we've not looked at, I don't think, ever on this channel, but we have tried to, the royal we have traded it in the past and done quite well, but it's not been very good when you look at it in the long run, but it was good at once upon a time. Now basically we've retraced a massive amount, absolutely massive amount, from the top to where we are at right now. That was a 78% retracement from the top to the actual bottom. That's on pretty much a full-on 92% retracement from the top to the bottom. When you see something like that, it's either dead or it's buyback time. So buying at this low level for this boy right down here wouldn't have been the greatest, because it's not exactly been happy before this level. And the buybacks from these zones here, what we see is nice big stair steps up. We'll measure these out just for fun. So this 3-day candle was a 70% move. This 2-day candle was a 50% move. And then this giant consolidation from there was a 57.5% move. So why am I getting excited about this? Well, it's not a very old coin, right? So I can't speak on behalf of any kind of market cycle, but one thing we like to look at is there any trend that has been broken as a result of us moving from this bottom to the top? And there is actually something very significant that's taken place. Not happened since the top here, where we basically rallied all the way up and crashed all the way back down. There is a trend line, a peak and a peak, and recently we have broken above that peak. Now we don't have specifically a good setup for moving averages on the daily. What we do see though is that we've broken above this this Ichimoku cloud. We've also, even though it looks very messy, we also have a fresh Ichimoku cloud cross here taking place on the daily, which would suggest that there is a chance for a continuation up. But if we look at how volatile this is, look at this wick here from the top all the way back down to the bottom. That was a 30% drop that was essentially bought straight back up, which is bullish. Even that wick, what am I doing there? Even that wick on its own, if you were to have bought at that to where it closed, it was a 22% move, and then a further couple of days later a 47% move. So this is proven to be a very, very volatile asset, extremely volatile. And now that we've broken above and seem to be closing and holding above this descending trend line, even though it's descending, is telling me that this giant consolidation phase has potentially ended, and that we may be looking at a bull phase on this coin, right? What would that look like for this? Well, I'll tell you something now. This is a very low cap coin. It's essentially trading at where is it? Between 3 and 4 sats. So that in itself is a very very sort of bad sign. But the 24 trading volume on USDT is just over, well, it's not much, is it? It's not much, but don't let that fool you, okay? Sometimes getting in towards the bottom, so long as the volume doesn't trickle down to like literally nothing, which obviously it could do if this fails, means that the move will be rip-roaring, super hot, high, massive, huge. We're talking 100% or more if it works out in our favour. Now, because this is a small cap coin, we have to bear in mind that there is risk involved with this one. So we do have some form of support taking place on here, which is another level that we can be interested in, because what this means is that we have this descending trend line which should hopefully hold as support if we were to go, but it's steep descending, so we don't want that to be support. We would like to see an upwards facing trend level of support. We also have rejections on this descending trend as well. So what this now would represent in a way is what could be considered a standard bull flag. So a giant move up here, consolidation within this zone, and then breaking out one way or another. Now the reason I'm thinking this is more likely to break to the up is because we're out of a consolidation phase. When you come out of a consolidation phase of this long, of this magnitude, then moves to the up are probably more likely as we've shown that we're above this cloud now. The cloud has been significant. We're above this cloud now, and we've got the positive cross on the daily. Let's have a look on the weekly to see what that says. Okay, the weekly often tells you a different story, and actually the weekly here says that we've had a negative cross here. But with a chart so small, Ichimoku cloud crosses aren't exactly the greatest indicator on a small term chart like this one. They were great on something like Bitcoin or XRP, and we've used those ones appropriately, but for this, not so great. But what you can bear in mind is the size of the cloud itself, not so much the conversion baseline cross. The conversion baseline cross says that we are actually probably looking to go down actually on a weekly term time frame. But with an asset that can be quite as volatile as this one, then actually we could discount that and say I could put in a little bit of money onto this one on the chance that it does a 1 or a 2 or a 3x. We just don't know. The cloud, this massive giant cloud, does come to an end in, I suppose, the third week of but it would be the third week of January. So we've got a little bit longer before the cloud completely dissipates. But what I would say is that we were waiting for something like this on XRP. I said, well, I mean, we've been buying in at low levels with XRP because with a similar kind of setup was unfolding. Now, I said to everybody, this is essentially the bottom, so a lot of us have been buying it up. I said, but don't expect moves until January because, the cloud. But we do have, set up for... and then XRP just launched, which doesn't mean that it's not going to launch again in January. It certainly means that it's probably going to launch again in January, and it's going to blow the socks off what we've seen recently. But with Holochain, different ball game altogether, very small chart, and we're coming out of this consolidation. The weekly, to me, suggests that, there will be some moves before January, but the biggest moves are going to be next year, and they will likely be really, really big, making us perhaps probably sooner rather than later go back up to the all-time high. Now again, I have to stress that this isn't financial advice, so I'm not advising you in any way to be buying this, but for me this looks like a potential setup which could unfold sooner rather than later, but certainly next year this one will pick up. In my opinion, it'll pick up, and it'll pick up dramatically. So I wouldn't say put life savings into this. I'm certainly not going to be putting life savings in. I might just put maybe 1 or 2% of my portfolio into this because the setup seems to be changing formation. It's very, very early days, I should say. This could break down and go beneath this, but it is very, very early days. But in my opinion, I think that this one could launch. Now, we do pump and dump on this one, so it's up to you if this is something you want to do. For me personally, I don't see a problem with buying down here at 1 or 2% and waiting to see how it unfolds next year, when the chances are, if we did make a absolute giant move all the way back up to the all-time high, that would be a 352% move, and perhaps maybe even greater than that over the whole of next year. I'm not saying this is going to happen in January. I think that in January we will see some really big moves, taking out some of these peaks up here, peaks here, and these peaks here. And at this point, this is we're getting on for a 3x around these levels anyway. So I thought I'd bring it to your attention. Like I say, this one does carry risk because it's low cap, low volume, but a small amount of your portfolio, for me, I don't see a problem with it, considering the size of the potential size of the moves over the next few months. Obviously, much of this rides on the health of Bitcoin. Well, I think it's safe enough to say that yes, even if Bitcoin does consolidate, we're not likely to go below 13,000, which again is a giant drop if we were to consolidate down to those levels. But we're getting into the final steps now of the bull market. Bull market's got about 12 months left in it, and we need to start looking at other ways to benefit from this bull market, as we only likely have between 12 to 13 months left of the bull market. So the chances are we will stay bullish now for quite a long period of time, 12, 13 months, with consolidations within that. But some of these altcoins are going to start coming back to life, and I think this is one of the ones that people have kind of forgotten about, and essentially this is one of your opportunities to essentially buy at the bottom of a chart. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there, but thank you for watching. Take it easy.